Hello.
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 Hello. Guess what? It's summer. Almost.
It's a little bit close to summer.
What?
It's just days until the unofficial start of summer.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And I turned the AC on for the first time yesterday, and it worked.
That's,
Breaking news.
That's something great.
So I
That's
wanted you all to
something
share
great.
my joy, listeners, that something is working in this
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So as we stare down the barrel of this summer, we decided to do a special episode focused on summers of yore.
Very special episode.
Yes. Just thinking about summers all through the 80s and 90s
Oof.
and different things, pop culture, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
Oh, yeah.
You know I'm really
can
pumped.
tell.
Yeah.
You have stated such.
Yeah. This is my pumped face.
Uh-huh.
I'm also pumped because Heath brought so many pages.
Yeah,
and I
he
don't
did.
know what's all
I'm
on them.
excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
He
Yeah.
also punched a hole in the wall right before we started recording.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's true. That's true. That's why we're all a little hesitant.
We're all.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why my pumped face is
Yes,
weird. 'Cause I'm
yes.
like, I don't know. He's ready to blow.
He
And,
is on a mission, and we're going to let it happen.
should we start, as always, with some unmitigated gall?
Absolutely. I can start this
Go for
time.
it, Erin.
Okay. My unmitigated gall is people who don't understand how to use the library.
Oh.
The illiterate?
Yeah. Yes, that's my unmitigated gall. No. I had a very unsettling incident happen at the
Oh.
library this week, and I'm still kind of reeling from it. But
Okay.
I am a big lover and user of the hold system at the library.
Oh, yeah.
Put things on hold. I can go get them, or like if it's at a different branch than the home branch that I like to use, they'll bring it over. It's great. So I'm familiar with the hold system. So it's still shocking to me that people don't understand that system. So I roll in today, and the timing felt
Today?
no, sorry.
Oh.
The day. Did
Okay.
I say today? The day. Sorry.
I was like, this is fresh.
Right, yeah.
No,
And
no.
also, the library's not open.
No.
How did that work?
Yeah, no. On the day this week that I went, I had a hold to pick up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make it today. So this timing of this is very kismet.
Okay.
So I come up to the hold section, and I'm trying to look for my area so I can find, they put like a little tag, if you don't know, like a little
Yes.
receipt sticking out of the book that has your name on it. Now, what some people might not understand is that you cannot check out that book unless you have my library card because the hold's attached to me. So when I walk up, I notice this gentleman seems to be browsing. Like he's pulling books out and looking at them
Oh,
and putting them back
that's-
in
No.
random spots. And I'm
No.
like, and I'm like, this is not my problem. I'm not dealing with this guy. Except that he had my book in his hand because I saw the
Okay.
cover and it's a very distinct cover. And I'm like, yep, my book's not there. And so then I'm like, now I have to say something. So I said, I think you have my book. And he said, what? I was like,
Fight.
yeah,
Fight.
I'm like, this is the. So then I went back because I thought I'll start at the beginning, and I was like, this is the hold section, and he's like, okay, and I was like, you request, you request the books, and they put them there with your name. Still very blank, and I said, you can't check that book out. And he's like, what? Like, he's still just not registering. He just thinks this lady came up to him and was like, you can't have that book. You can't check it out. So he's getting, like, defensive. I can see it in his body, like, I can check out a book.
Oh, my
and I'm
God.
like, no.
Oh, my God.
So I'm like, I'm not explaining this well. I said, it's connected to my card. So you're not going to be able to check it out. When you get up, it'll beep or
I'm
whatever.
saving you. You're saving him some heartache here.
Try to save you
Yeah.
embarrassment.
And explaining how this hallowed system works.
Yeah. And he's like, okay. And I was like, I sensed a doubt in your voice. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't have a lot. Like, I went into my patience reservoir for you, sir. And you tapped it out that quickly because you refused to listen to what I'm saying. And I said, I just need to take that book from you, which is not the next move you should make. You're having an unproductive conversation. You should not reach your arm out and try to grab the book off the person's stack. And he turned his body. And so then I was like, okay, I guess I have to get the library police, which I assume is a librarian. So I went up to the desk and I was like, hey, that guy because my library holds, and I don't think he understands that he can't check it out. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Did you tell him?" And I'm like, been down that path. And I'm kind of standing there because I'm like, I don't want to say, like, he got a little, like, it almost came to fisticuffs. Yeah. So she gets up and she goes over, and somehow she gets him to understand. And she takes the book and gives it to me. He is glaring at me, walking by to the stacks as if I told on him and somehow got the book and it wasn't rightfully mine. And then I was just incensed. And then I looked crazy because I'm walking out to the car just muttering to myself about, you don't even understand the system. I didn't take the book from you. I don't want to be accused of being a thief in the library. I'm like freaking out. And then,
wow.
Yeah. And simple understanding. There's a big sign that says holds. So you might
and
ask
every
yourself,
book has a thing in it that
a
has
name.
the name.
There's a name coming. Nowhere else in the library is there a section of books with names coming out of them. Like, I just don't feel like. And I was like, have you gotten away with this before? But
Apparently.
how? Because if they're attached to someone's library card, or had I just always assumed that that's
I
how it
didn't
worked?
know they were attached to the library card, so that may not be.
That might not be true.
Yeah.
I might have made that assumption.
You might have made an assumption.
So he's the genius.
Or, I mean, this could have been his first time in a library. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing. He just was like, these seem like fun books.
Yeah.
And just was going to
If
take
it's your
what he
first
wants.
time in the library, then you should be open to instruction and to help
Yeah.
and to guidance. And
Maybe-
not.
Maybe he was that kicker from the Chiefs.
Oh,
Maybe he was.
it was that guy, Harrison.
Yeah. Yeah. He was,
He's like, why are you out in the world?
Yeah, you don't
ladies
have time
don't
to read. You got to
You're
take
a
care
lady.
of your kids. Yeah, it was. So yeah, you're right. Maybe it isn't. And then he's just been checking out books from the whole so he could not understand what I was saying.
I hope that someday they have, we've talked about how grocery stores would put up bad checks on the
Yeah,
wall.
yeah.
I hope they put his picture up on like the library wall and be like,
Yeah.
watch for this guy. He's going to steal your books.
He's gonna steal your books.
He probably left the library, went to a Panera, and, just the to-go stuff. He probably doesn't get that somebody else ordered that and paid for it. He's probably just standing there just grabbing someone's sandwich.
He's like, oh, this looks great.
This is his deal.
Oh,
he
my
goes to
God.
Starbucks and he steals the
I have
drinks.
often wondered,
Yeah.
there is no real good system at Starbucks. Like, you
No.
could definitely just take that mobile order to go. Just look and be like, that one looks good.
That's some unmitigated gall.
That was some unmitigated. So that was my.
Well, I'm sorry you had that experience.
It's okay. I mean,
I'm
now
sorry you almost got into a fight at the
I know,
library.
and I was like, you don't understand how on the edge I am, sir. This is not where we want to be right now.
Also, it feels like we've all had almost fights in weird places. You at a Wilson Phillips concert,
yeah.
and you at the library.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Me at a Walgreens.
you at a Walgreens.
That guy was touching me.
Yeah. Oh. God. Oh.
That was summer. Anniversary's coming up.
That'd make a good country song, though, when that guy was touching me. Like, just as the title. Like, we have to write the
Yes.
song.
Well,
Like,
even country's absurd enough that it could be I got touched at a Walgreens.
And all the guys would be like, this is an instruction manual
Yeah,
of
I
how
love
to
this.
go up to ladies.
I'd do that at Walgreens too,
someone
man.
could record it as, like, a gospel number.
Yeah.
Like as if
Yeah.
the Lord touched me at Walgreens.
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, you're right.
I was touched by Jesus at Walgreens.
That's somehow way more disturbing to me that I was almost touched by Jesus. I don't want Jesus touching my tattoos.
No, that's uncomfortable on every level.
Gross. Well, I'll go
Okay,
next.
okay.
I have a historical unmitigated gall, which
Is this about Abe Lincoln? That
always
bastard.
that rat bastard.
I haven't heard someone say rat bastard in so long. I approve.
My historical gall is always having a birthday in the summer. Because when you're a kid and there's like, you have a birthday during the school year, you get like, somebody brings like cupcakes or cookies or whatever. And then that kid is like the hero of the day. And everybody gets to celebrate that kid. And I never had that.
I'm sorry.
I was
They
always
didn't let
just,
you celebrate like a half birthday?
No.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, well,
Did you ever consider, like, getting bad grades on purpose so you'd have to go to summer school?
Well, I did driver's ed during the summer, and I don't I must have gone on my birthday, and it was probably one of the days that the driver's ed guy just fell asleep, and I just drove us around Iowa and had a great old time. Happy birthday to me.
That's terrific.
But no, instead
That's what every teenager wants to do, is spend their birthday in the car with the sleeping adult
my 16th
alone.
birthday. Yeah. Happy. Great. But yeah, it was always a bummer. And also that your birthday's in the middle of the goddamn heat.
Yeah.
So it was always like when I did have like a birthday get together or whatever, it was in our garage, our unair conditioned garage, and just sweat and melting food and just bugs, gnats everywhere. Sweat.
Oh.
It was gross.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Is that you've been a vegan for so long
Yeah.
that it's hard for me to imagine a time when you weren't. Like, I just imagined little Amy being like, no, I can't eat any of this at her own birthday party.
No, little Amy ate everything, pretty much.
well.
All the meats.
Okay. I can't picture that.
Probably because we didn't really have vegetables in our house.
Yeah,
so there was nothing
right.
else to eat.
Yeah.
You know?
I got
yeah.
you. Okay.
But yeah, little Amy loved some ice cream around her birthday.
Well, that's who doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention my birthday's in July. That's probably why, this is the issue. But yeah.
I understand what you're saying about a summer birthday and not getting the attention you deserve on it, but I also feel bad for people whose birthdays are like in January and February, because it's just like at least when you live in the Midwest, if you don't travel on your birthday, I mean, it's always garbage
No one
weather.
wants to go out.
Yeah.
No one wants to do anything.
Your birthday party can get canceled for snow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if it's like early January, everyone's hungover from all the holidays.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a bummer. Thanks for the perspective, Heath.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Is that you saying that I'm whining for no reason?
No,
Okay. Just checking.
Just checking.
What's your unmitigated gall, Heath?
I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me.
Uh-oh.
But it's Ticketmaster.
Yeah, this feels controversial. Yeah, for sure.
This might not be a popular opinion, but Ticketmaster can rot in hell.
Okay.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard your reason yet, and I'm already on board.
For my wedding anniversary recently, which I hope, just so everyone knows, we haven't exchanged gifts yet because I'm waiting for my husband to actually buy a gift.
Which is a great strategy.
Right. So he's got 3 days to get this shit done before he finds out what his gift is. I'm about to say what it is.
Oh.
I got him tickets to see David Sedaris in Ames in October.
That's
right?
an excellent gift.
He's so good in person.
Yeah, he's funny. And I went to Ticketmaster to buy these tickets. And, we only need 2. And there was 3 open, and I picked 2, and a big window pops up. Oops, you missed one. And I'm like, oh, this must be a mistake. So I close it and reselect the seats again. And the same window came up. They wouldn't let me buy 2 tickets to leave and leaving a seat. They wouldn't let me. They were like, you either need to buy all 3 of them or you're out of luck. Find some new seats. And I was like, what? This is not my problem.
No.
You are pressuring me.
Yeah. Like now
bring-
I have to buy a 3rd ticket and find a way to unload it? Or get another husband between now and October?
Are they forcing you to have a throuple?
I think.
What's the... Yeah.
I don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah.
That's a great point about thruples. Can you imagine having to deal with
No.
2
No.
spouses?
No.
I can't. It's hard enough now. Like
Yeah, there's
talking
no
about
way.
everything.
Ugh. Gross.
God. Compromising? Jesus Christ.
A 3-way compromise? What does that look like?
No one's going to be happy.
No
ever.
one.
No.
Someone's always going to be miserable.
Yeah.
So I just picked 2 seats somewhere else, and I was just like, you can go fuck yourself to Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And then did they add like crazy fees? Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, by the time a third of what I paid was all just Ticketmaster fees and taxes and nonsense.
It's ridiculous.
And I'd feel better about paying for it if they just said nonsense. Ticketmaster nonsense.
Yes.
And didn't call it like, they just call it what it is.
Yeah, not trying
Right,
to
'cause
dress
they
it up.
itemize it into such weird things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, moral of the story, I think Michael will love that gift.
I do too. That's
When
a
he
really
finds
good
out.
gift.
What do you guys think he's going to get me?
Oh, God. I was just trying to think. Well, I did tell you before recording that I was working with him at a bookstore 2 Fridays ago, and I started looking around. He's like, tell me if you see anything that Heath would like. It's like, oh, okay, got it.
So now you're in charge of buying.
Now
my
I'm in
gifts.
charge of your anniversary. That's right. So I found a few things that I thought you would genuinely enjoy, and he's like, I'll keep looking.
It can't be just something that I would outwardly like. It's got to be something I've got to be convinced to like.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes. Where I was holding up these things like you wouldn't have to do convincing. I feel like these would
Yeah.
work. Yeah. Yeah.
I was hoping for like a Gem and the Holograms T-shirt.
Oh,
something,
man.
but yeah.
Right
yeah.
there.
What would be the best gifts for Heath? I mean, anything Mariah Carey, obviously.
Obviously, anything
Yeah,
Mariah
yeah.
Carey. Yeah.
Like tickets to a show.
Yeah, which she has shows coming up this summer in Las Vegas.
I mean, that's a slam dunk. What are we doing?
So maybe we don't want him to get it in the next 3 days. Maybe
Right,
we want
right,
him
right.
to listen to this.
Maybe you can be like, listen, hun, here's our Wednesday night. Let's listen to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just stare at him intently during this part. Are you listening carefully?
Let's rewind that. Let's play that back.
Yeah.
What do you think are, I was going to say, what are bad gifts? I was like, well, you're just going to list off everything Michael's giving you. But what do you think is your ideal gift?
Going out to dinner is fine,
That's
or
an
like a
excellent
trip
gift.
or something like that. Just an experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
Well, Michael, you heard it here first.
You sure did.
Well, I mean, this is not the first time he's been told this.
That's very true. That's very true.
fair.
You've heard it here for the 18th year.
Yeah.
It's recorded now, so you can go back and
You can refer to this as research. Yeah. Well, shall we dive into some summers?
Let's
do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, like I said, I think we all probably approach this a little differently. How did you approach it, Erin?
I tied like some big specific summer memories I had to like kind of the pop culture that was going on at that time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That kind of related to the thing for me.
Okay.
So if you want me to start, I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Amy already mentioned this, but I took driver's ed in the summer of 1996. It did not go well.
Oh, okay.
I had a really old driver's ed instructor who was very sexist. So he would say, like, the women don't need to know this, but boys, you should pay attention.
And what was it like?
Changing a tire.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Cool.
Yep. He also was the instructor for we had like simulators, so you would drive like with a computer screen, and for whatever reason, simulators made me very nervous because it felt like things just popped out of nowhere, and it didn't feel like organic like it does when you're driving and you're alert. It felt like a weird video game, and I've never been great at video games, so it felt very like loaded to me. And one time he got really close to my face and yelled, "You ran over that cat!" And I was like, "I didn't see it! I didn't see it!"
It's not real.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah.
Also, you ran over a cat?
Apparently, I still have
Do you think that was
questions.
true?
No.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
So
No,
otherwise
I
I'll
don't
never
think it
look
was.
at you the
Because
same.
it was a big projector and everything was huge on
Okay.
it. It was distorted. And I'm like, how did I miss a cat? Like, I think you're just saying that because he was kind of antagonistic. So, like, for example, the first lesson was for us to drive around the parking lot with our eyes closed. To get a feel, he would say, just drive down this path with your eyes closed to get a feel. And I was like, I don't feel good about that.
Get a feel for what?
Right. That was followed by like a 45-minute lecture on the different types of keys, which didn't seem pertinent to driving either. And then on my final day, we did some driving, and there was a bunch of one-ways in the place that I grew up, and we came up to one, and he said, turn left, and I said, I can't. And he wasn't looking. He was looking at his clipboard, and he said, turn left, and I said, I can't. And he said, I told you to turn left, turn left. So panic mode, if you yell at me, I've turned left. And he's like, you're going the wrong way on the one way. And then it made me drive extra hours because I turned the wrong way on a one way.
Okay.
So it was kind of felt like a trap all the time, but you know.
I wonder too if, he obviously didn't think there were things you guys needed to learn. Maybe he didn't think you belonged behind a wheel.
I kind of got that impression. Yeah, I kind of got that impression. But I was really disappointed. And his extra hours the driver's ed was done that day. That was supposed to be our final test. I had to come the next day and drive for 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yeah, from 8 to 12 with like 2 other, like there was 3 of us that kept having to rotate.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't know what one more day is going to change what you think about my driving, but okay. And then he passed us after that, but it was wild. But what I remember the most is that there was a period of time where he would send us out, I think solely so that we would turn the air on in the car and get it going before he would show up at the car. And obviously he wouldn't let us listen to the radio when we were driving, but we always would turn the radio on. And there were certain songs that we were always super pumped, like the 3 of us to hear. And one of the big ones, like Till I Hear It From You, the Gin Blossoms. We were always excited about that. Ironic. Alanis Morissette.
Oh, yeah.
Give Me One Reason to Steer. That seemed on point when Tracy Chapman would sing it. But the biggest one, for whatever reason, that we just were all so excited was if Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony came on. And we could sing it for just those few minutes, blissful minutes before he got in the car.
As you're just sweating and
Yeah,
sweating
we're
and
just
sweating.
got the air on, and we're like, oh, Crossroads is on. Just like all 3 of us after our freshman year just being nerds in the car.
What did you say the title of the Tracy Chapman song was?
Give Me One Reason.
Okay. I thought you said, give me one reason to steer.
I thought
I
she
think
said
it's,
that too.
Give me one reason to stay here.
Oh, God, is it really?
When you said steer, I was like, I don't remember that.
I have gone my whole life thinking it's steer. Then I thought she was in a car and she was like, give me one reason.
Oh my
basically, to
God.
turn around.
You heard a very different song than the rest of us.
With the second line, or I'll turn right back around. It does. Putting those together,
yeah,
the
that's
context
true.
does help. But yeah, I think it's stay here.
God. Oh, I wish I could say that's the first time that's happened to me on a song, but it's not. It sure isn't. I've been confidently singing that for 43 years.
Wow.
Years. Oh my goodness. Wow. You learn something every day.
Every time we record, we sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tracy Chapman, because I thought it meant something different for a long time.
Well, and she also sings fast car, so maybe she's just in the vehicle.
You were thinking cars. You were thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
My driver's ed teacher was kind of he wasn't sexist. He just fell asleep all the time and let us drive.
Which also seems dangerous.
Very dangerous.
I would not fall asleep in a car full of teenagers.
Right?
I'd be afraid.
I would be so sweaty and panicky.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think I remember that when he would sort of wake up, he would jolt and sort of push the brake on his side, just out of reflex and like, ugh. And we're out in the middle of bumfuck Iowa somewhere. Like, yeah.
No.
Not good.
It's
a great system. A great system.
My driver's ed teacher, I remember we would drive around Waterloo until 10:30 in the morning because he wanted a McRib. And that's when they started serving.
God.
So he'd just get us in the vicinity of a McDonald's between 10:15 or so, around
Did
there.
he eat it in the car?
Yeah,
when you were
yeah.
driving? Gross.
And the rest of us are, we're like 15, 16. We don't have any money on us. And he's just like shoveling in this McRib while all of us are just sitting there. And it's like, what are you doing? It's 10:30 in the morning.
That's worse. I do not want to be in a car with someone eating a McRib. Those sandwiches are so gross.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now trying to imagine like the want ad for, driver's ed instructors because it has to be a real low bar. Like these were not top citizens of the state or the city.
No. I think a lot of teachers do it for extra money in the summer. Yeah. And it's their summer, so they're kind of checked out. They're like, look.
My guy felt like he just came off the street. Like he was he wasn't related to East at all. It was like, yeah, he looks good. He
my guy,
drives.
I think my guy was a retired teacher by like a lot of years.
Okay.
Like.
And he didn't like Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Yeah. He'd always
Weird.
get in and we'd have to turn the music off. Yeah. Yeah. So every time I hear Crossroads, I think of driver's ed.
That's a good and bad memory. And
It
now
is.
every time you hear the Tracy Chapman song, you'll remember when Heath corrected you.
I mean, you can all feel confident that I will be driving home today listening to that song to better understand its actual context.
Well, Heath, what do you got? What do you bring into the table this time?
Well, this show, the show I'm going to talk about I don't think people necessarily associate it with the summer.
Okay.
It's called Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the show debuted in October of 1990 on Fox, and, like, nobody really paid attention to it very much. The ratings weren't that good. But it got renewed for a second season anyway. And so what they did is they started airing the second season in July when all the other shows were in reruns. So since there was nothing else to do, they got really good ratings. So that's kind of when it became the juggernaut that it turned out to be. They did it in the second season. They did it in the third season too, because they wanted to kind of keep the momentum going. Like the first two seasons, like most TV shows have like 22 episodes. Like the first two seasons had for this show, or excuse me, the second and third season had like 28.
Really?
Yeah, like they made those extra. Like it's not like it concluded early. There was just, I mean,
Wow.
can you imagine trying to think of some shit for
28 episodes a season?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
An
why
hour.
we got some real weird storylines, and maybe that's why.
We do have weird storylines, and I have some to share with you.
Oh, yay!
First of all, for anybody who doesn't know, the premise of the show is that siblings Brandon and Brenda Walsh and their parents, it's kind of them adjusting to living in Beverly Hills because they have moved there from Minneapolis. And the show followed the characters' friendships and romantic relationships and dealt with a whole host of issues. And I got this list from the internet.
Oh, boy.
Such as sex, date rape, homophobia, animal rights, alcoholism, drug abuse, domestic violence, eating disorders, racism, teenage suicide, teenage pregnancy, and AIDS. And I feel like animal rights sticks out there a little bit.
It sure does.
I mean, animals should absolutely be able to vote and get abortions, I believe.
Yeah. Free abortions for all animals.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that worked into the happenings of West Beverly Hills High School.
I remember that, though. That was Shannon Doherty, like, either last year of high school or first year of college, and she got in with, like, animal activist friends
like
or
a
something.
PETA thing?
Yes. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not making that up, am I?
No.
Okay.
So what I have here, I have a few episode descriptions
Oh, I
of
love it.
things
Okay,
that happen
okay.
on Beverly Hills 90210. Working at the beach club, Brandon meets Jerry Radinger, who hires him as a driver for his wife, but learns some shocking information on the job. Meanwhile, Brenda decides to attend summer school with Donna and Andrea in order to get her mind off Dylan, because apparently they'd broken up.
I remember in this, like, wasn't it during the summer when, like, Kelly and Dylan got together?
Because Brenda, like, went to Paris for the summer, right?
Yes. So that was, like, a big summer, like, drama thing. Yeah.
Kelly got in on her man.
Sure did. Ooh, that was good. Good stuff.
And I don't remember what Jerry or his wife were up to.
No.
I don't get it, but I feel like it had something to do with, like, writing bad checks in Beverly Hills. I don't know. That's just
Probably.
a guess.
Yeah. Schemes.
Yeah.
Pyramid
Fairs.
schemes.
Yeah. But, I mean, good for Brenda for taking summer school to get over a man instead of, like, doing crimes, I guess. I don't know.
The time-honored tradition of doing crimes to
Doing
get over a
crimes.
breakup.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's another one. When Dylan's father is indicted on income tax evasion, Dylan goes out surfing in dangerous waters, and he's injured in a storm.
I think I remember that one.
The Walsh family...
Seemed like such an overreaction.
Yes.
I gotta go
out in the rain.
Oh, God, I'll tell you, cheat the IRS, Dad.
This storm's be damned.
Yeah.
So the Walsh family takes him to the hospital, and Jim, Brenda's dad, is upset when he catches Brenda kissing Dylan. Meanwhile, Kelly falls for a handsome volleyball player who likes her, but for some reason won't have sex with her. I think I know, Kelly. Oof. For some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
He resists her charms? What could it be?
I had a very similar experience, Kelly.
Was it also the same reason? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't find that out till later, and I was like, that tracks. Okay.
Here's another one. When Andrea persuades Brandon to hang out with a young boy.
What?
They discover a possible case of child abuse. David's dad and Kelly's mom meet and start dating, much to David's delight and Kelly's chagrin.
Yeah.
I remember that, but the boy subplot sounds a little suspicious.
If you got a friend that's like, hey, will you hang out with a young boy, please? Get a new friend.
Yeah.
Don't.
You don't even have the time to explain
No.
it to that person.
Yeah, they should know
No.
better. Here's a good one. Brandon has finally saved enough money to get his dream car and buys it against his father's advice. His dad seems like a real fucking downer, by the way.
Yeah.
No kissing, no cars. God. The car breaks down minutes after Brandon leaves the dealership. Angry and disappointed with his son's impetuous decision, Jim debates over whether to help him. Meanwhile, both Brenda and Andrea develop feelings for their acting teacher, sparking a physical altercation between the girls when he shows interest in Andrea.
Oh! That's a twist.
Uh-huh.
Well, she was probably closer to his age because she was like 30
Yeah,
She was like
in high
30
school.
something.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Also,
Maybe he heard about the young boy thing, and he's like,
you have an in.
yeah.
did Brandon then, host a brothel in order to solve the problem?
He
Because
should have.
He should have.
He should have.
Uh-huh.
If we learned from last week's episode.
Exactly.
That's what you do in a jam.
That's what you do in a jam.
Yeah, and I don't I don't know. Good for the teenage girls for going after what they want, but also fighting.
Yeah, why? Because we got to get a cat fight in there.
Yeah.
Because that's ratings, baby.
So I hope
That was
at
probably
least
the summer sweeps.
I hope at least one of them married him. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
We got to
after-
get into a bit fist fight. At least lock that shit down.
Right. It's great guilting. I got in a fist fight for you.
So yeah, that's if what we have shared today does not convince you to watch every episode of Beverly Hills 90210 from start to finish.
It's-
I can't help you anymore. You're
I
on your
can't.
own.
Yeah, you're on your
No,
own.
I mean the only other thing would be like guest stars because there was a Hillary Swank in there before she was big time. There were all sorts of people.
Yeah.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Yes, oh, that's
I love
right.
that star role.
She
Yeah.
replaced Shannon Doherty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching those summer episodes where Kelly and Dylan tried to fight their feelings for one another and just thinking, this is peak hotness right here. This
Yes.
is just
Yeah.
these two hot people trying to fight their urge to have sex.
Yeah. And it's not going to happen.
And it's not going to happen while the girlfriend's in Paris.
And if anybody knows anything about teenagers, they're really good at
They're
fighting their
really
urges.
good
Yes.
at restraint.
Yeah, yeah.
And- yeah.
Yeah, making mature decisions.
Speaking of making mature decisions, I kind of went about it as like almost like themes or concepts of
Okay.
summer.
Yeah.
And I feel like the staple of every summer horror movie, every summer sexy movie was camp.
Oh yeah.
Full on
Yeah.
camp. And that made me think of my own camp experiences. And I have a few to tell you about.
Oh, my. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Did you murder someone at camp?
No, I feel like this is going to be a story where, like, her leg literally got cut off and no one took her to the hospital.
You ate today. We can't.
Yeah.
I saw you
and then
eating in
we're
the
gonna
mess
have to
hall.
fix our face and be like, I'm so sorry that no one gave you the proper care. Or someone dropped her off at a sports camp or a games camp.
Okay, hang on.
And she went to the library and there were no books.
We're doing puzzles all summer, Amy.
I mean, not that bad. Not that.
I went dark. That's fair.
My first was Living History Farm's day camp,
Oh.
which I just found out Michael's dad helped make, which I did not realize that.
That's
Fancy.
crazy.
So for those not in Des Moines or Iowa, there is a phenomenon known as Living History Farms, which and a physical place. Okay. It's not just a state of mind. It's a whole
You know-
thing.
What is the state of mind for Living History Farms? Quaker? Amish?
And the whole thing of Living History Farms is you go and there's like the main town that's like a 1800s town. And then you go a little further and there's like a Native American village. And that you're like going through time, right? And then there's like, now I can't remember what all there was.
It should be noted too that there's a truck stop a quarter mile away too.
Yeah. Yes. 1,000% yes.
And then at one point, like you go through, it's big, it's all over. And at one point you're like going through these woods and then you come out and there's the future home, which at the time was like solar panels. So you could make cookies on the solar panels and oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
Now I imagine it's just like a house.
Yeah.
Like today's house, except we don't do solar panels.
Right.
However.
Yeah.
So Living History Farms, it sold tickets to this, but it also did a children's day camp. And I don't know how this came to be. I don't know how my parents were like, yeah, this is good for her, which it theoretically was, but that they would actually do
In the sense that it gave you content for today? Like, is that how you mean it was good for you?
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing otherwise you thought that was good for you.
Yeah, I don't picture.
I was suspect.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, I feel like Amy was pointing out the discrepancies. Like, they didn't have this year.
Right. Mostly because it was all outdoors all day, super hot, like in July or August, and it's a week-long thing, and you go all day, and then you go home. And during the day, like, you visit a different area, right? And you get to do activities, and you know how I love activities. Love them so much. But I remember on my first day of day camp, we're all standing around the town square with our, like, counselors ready to go or whatever. And our counselor just passes out from heat stroke. And that was
To start the day? Jeez. It wasn't even the hottest part of the day
Are you
yet.
sure they weren't hungover?
It's a great point. We were told it was heat stroke. Could be a hangover.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But she was gone, so we had to get a replacement. There was one point at which we were, like, going from village to village, I don't know, and there was a whole, like, hiking component. You know how I love hiking. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of mud and water, and I think the little autistic girl in me was just shut down. Because at one point I just stopped, and I didn't want to get my shoes dirty, and I couldn't, like, go any further, and I was like, I can't do this, and then they all just left me.
Oh.
Oh, I knew there was going to be trauma. I knew it. That's horrendous.
And it's me just sort of yelling after them until I finally had to get over my shit and then go follow them. So that was good.
Like 1 minute ago, I was going to say I've never wanted footage of something more. And then immediately I was like, I do not want that footage. I do not want that footage.
Mostly it was just all the things I hate about the outdoors. Sun, bugs, mud and dirt,
Yeah.
getting dirty, it's just not good.
Activities,
other kids,
Yeah.
like all of it. It was just bad.
Yeah.
I do remember though, like the last day was the future house, and we got to make our cookies, and we got to like sit at this little lake and catch fish. I didn't want any part of catching fish, but we, did all that. So that was like an end of the week. So it felt like, okay, it was all worth it. But then I think I did not sign up for the next year.
I think that's kind of a one and done situation.
Yeah, it was a one and done. Yeah. Then after that, like a few years after that, I went to church camp.
Oh.
I don't like it already. I do not care for this at all. Okay, church camp. This ought to be good.
It must have been one of the times when my parents were like, well, we got to get these kids some God because, So we were going to church, and they were advertising this camp. It was a week-long camp. I go, so I don't know if I signed up on my own free will. I don't know. I do know the night before I was having full-blown meltdown panic attack. Like, I cannot go to this. I cannot imagine that. I did go.
Yeah.
And then the rest of camp, it was fine. Way too many activities, way too much heat, way too much cabins. But beyond that, there was a lot of interpersonal drama. There were little romances being formed.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I had my first crushes, I think, or some of my first crushes. And then there was like the first time you like wear like a swimsuit in front of a boy, and like a lot of those moments kind of thing. And then every once in a while there'd be a bonfire, and they'd be pressuring you to let the Lord into your heart.
Oh.
They painted the image of Jesus is knocking at the door of your heart. So you just got to let Jesus in.
I don't know, man. I feel like, wouldn't Jesus just be like, it's Jesus, let me in? Like, would he knock that much?
I know. I would think Jesus
Also
would
feels
just be
like they're grooming you for
abracadabra.
knocking in the middle of the night. Like,
that's a good point. But I think, Jesus could be just like abracadabra. The door opens. Boom. I'm in
bitch,
your
I'm
heart.
already in your heart. That's how I work. I'd be
Right.
Jesus. I went to camp, to Girl Scout
That
camp.
was my next point, was tell me about your camp experiences, if you had some.
I went to Girl Scout camp, but it was called Camp Gaywood.
Oh,
And
I've been there.
yeah, have you? Okay, I figured you'd relate.
Love the gay one.
Yeah, and I had a really. It's so bad. They changed it to Camp Tanglefoot now.
Why?
I don't know that's better.
Too many people showing up unintentionally because of Google Maps or something like
I know.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
guess.
now you're gonna get the foot fetish people.
Yeah.
On Google Maps. Yeah.
Yeah. And my friend that I always went with, she wasn't a school friend. She was a friend that I had like outside of school, but she was super athletic. And she would always get to pick the camp because Girl Scout camp, they had them all summer and they had different themes. Like each week was a different theme. So you could pick which week you really wanted to go to. And she was like my camp friend, but she always picked something that was way outside my wheelhouse, like learn to sail a sailboat. Which I did. Not well, but
Well,
I had a similar thing with water skiing. Like someone signed me
Yeah.
up for that. I'm like, how is this gonna go well?
no.
Yeah.
And they were like tent structures on like a wooden thing.
Okay.
And so two things happened my first year at camp. One, I was trying to tell myself that it was fine when I walked in there because there was already so many spiders and mosquitoes in the tent. And I was like, this is fine. I've got this.
Totally
And I
fine.
lay my sleeping bag out, do the whole thing. And I'm trying to be like excited. So I come out of the bathroom. No, we didn't have a bathroom because we had
We had outhouses.
we had
yeah.
outhouses, yeah. I came out of the side corner of the cabin. I think there was like a little changing room that they had set up. And I hit my sleeping bag. Like I ran, like I was like, this would be so fun. And I slid all the way out the side of the tent. Like hour one, I'm already scraped from head to toe.
Oh no.
Injury,
That's
right?
true. There's so many wounds in summer camp.
So many wounds.
And it felt like they treated them like in that action theme park where it's just like some weird ass spray that they put on you. It's not antiseptic.
it just
it's not good.
stings, and you're like, it's
Yeah.
so much worse. And they're like, it'll be fine. And you're like, okay, let's sing the Jello song. Why am I here? And then another time, I got really sick at camp, and you were supposed to go to the counselor and say, I'm going to the bathroom, and they had to give you permission. And it was the middle of the night, so they were like dead asleep, and I was standing outside the cabin. I'm like, oh no, wake up. Didn't wake up in time. So, because was too, like, I should have just gone to the bathroom is the moral of that story, but I opted to just shit my sweatpants.
Oh no! I was thinking it was a vomit situation. It was not.
No, it later turned into that. But
Okay.
then I had to just stay in the infirmary for like a day and a half, and then my parents came and got me. But they kept trying to like nurse me back to health, and I'm like, I'm not coming back from this.
No.
Like, first of all, I have no sweatpants.
Nope.
Yeah. So there's just some memories because of my friend that picked all these things that really stick out. But
It's gross. Did you ever go to camp, Heath?
No, I think I had to go to like Boy Scout camp, but it
Okay.
was just for like a day.
Okay.
And I think like everybody there, myself included, was just like, this is not for him.
Yeah.
I remember being on a horse at one point, and even the horse was
Yeah.
probably just like, oh yeah, this isn't the right fit.
This kid is not.
Yeah.
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 Too bad he didn't go to Gaywood.
I know.
He
Yeah.
did later.
Woo!
So, camp.
Summer camp.
Rite of summer passage. What's next, Erin?
Sorry. Okay, I'm going to tell you about a movie that sticks out to me in the summer that makes no sense, but
Oh.
I'll explain why. The Titanic movie screams summer to me,
What?
which you might question because it premiered in December of 1997.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is important information because this is back when movie theaters, you didn't have the online option to buy tickets, and people seemed a little more concerned about their job in general. And they didn't let people into R-rated movies that weren't 17 that couldn't buy the tickets. And so Titanic stayed in the theater for almost 10 months because it was all the way into the next fall.
Did
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it was like the #1 movie in the country for like 16 weeks, I think.
Holy shit.
So from like December, like well into March.
I saw it so many times that summer because so many times I tried to get into an R-rated movie and they would catch me and then I'd be like, Titanic. So I saw it over and over. And guess what movie I was trying to get into?
What?
Good Will Hunting, which is rated R, and they wouldn't.
Just for language. Like, that's
Right.
got to be the only reason. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm sure at some point they just recognized me. But it would be like with friends or somebody, and we'd go, and like half of us could get into the other movie and half of us couldn't. And I feel like I just stopped participating in those events because I felt like it was my face. That the guy at the movie counter was like, no. Because I saw Titanic so many times that summer, and that's why it felt so like a summer movie to me. I mean, when we started talking about doing summer bonus, I thought, what's a movie that stands out to me from the summer? And I was like, Titanic. And then I looked it up, and I was like, nope. And then I had to backtrack and be like, why do I remember coming out in the heat from this movie?
Were you into Leonardo DiCaprio?
I was at the time.
Okay,
yeah, I
yeah.
did. And interestingly enough, this was in theaters long enough that I saw it with 3 different guys.
Whoa!
Yeah. So, one of the
Well done,
aforementioned
by the way.
that, didn't. I found out for other reasons. Oh, we were together. Yeah.
Because of Gaywood? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Wow.
Titanic will always be a summer movie to me.
Heath, what's next for you?
I want to talk about fashion.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's talk about fashion. A summer fashion trend from the 90s that I loved were Doc Martens. Doc Martens sandals specifically.
Yes, they were
Yep.
so heavy.
They were so heavy and they were so
Sandals.
tall.
So tall.
Yeah.
Remember the sand?
And they were kind of hot. I mean, too. It was
Yeah,
weird,
they weren't
like,
the best sandal, but
right,
man,
yeah.
they looked good.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, I remember these.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of buckles.
I think I had
Or there
some-
was like some slide ones too.
I had
Yeah.
knockoffs of these. Yeah, for sure.
Headquartered in Wollaston, Northamptonshire, Doc Martens footwear is known for their air-cushioned sole and the yellow stitching.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The sandals that they sold in the 90s, which are kind of making a comeback, they're pretty popular again with the youths. They were considered platform sandals, as we said. And by the time you kind of factor in the inch of rubber sole on the bottom of the shoes and then another inch of sole on top of that, you were considerably taller, but you were,
Right.
you were taller.
You were
Tall.
taller.
Yeah.
So to me, the Doc Marten sandals are sort of like if you took Doc Marten boots and flip flops and sort of
Yes.
made them make love and then
Procreate. Is that what we go? Okay.
You made them go to Gaywood. Yeah.
The boots were first developed by Klaus Martens, who was a doctor in the German army during World War II, and somehow,
Whoa.
some way, he was apparently not a Nazi. I checked this out. He injured his ankle while skiing, and again, when I first read that, I was thinking water skiing, and I was like, how is this non-Nazi German soldier water skiing? But then it was like, oh, I bet he was
Snow
skiing.
Yeah. Like a true Aryan.
Yep. So while recovering from his injury, he found that his regular army boots weren't comfortable, so he designed new and improved boots with air-cushioned soles. And as a solutions-oriented podcast, we salute a solutions-oriented doctor/boot designer.
Yeah.
But we do so metaphorically so as not to accidentally salute him in a way that would seem too German.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Agree.
So it doesn't
Yeah.
like slip into a high.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Good call. Also, I'm questioning what about the air cushion sole would be comforting to your ankle. Because, like, the boot itself getting on is not
Right.
a good process.
Yeah, and that doesn't really protect your ankle much, right? Like,
I mean,
I felt like they, especially the platforms, it made it feel a little more precarious.
Right. Like you
Yeah.
could roll your ankle along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had further to fall.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the war, Klaus tried to sell the boots, but didn't sell many boots. So he told a friend from school, Herbert Funk,
Okay. I wow. All right. Okay. All right.
I think Heath wrote this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the two went into business together and found great success.
Wow.
The
It
shoes
was
were
all that funk.
Yeah.
What
He
you
just-
bring
he was
to the
just-
table, Funk?
he just
Like,
missing the Funk.
Uptown funk.
The shoes were a big hit with German housewives. In fact, women over 40 accounted for 80% of the sales at Doc Martens during their first decade in business.
What?
Yeah.
this is a wild history.
It
How did I
is.
not know any of this?
Yep.
Man, those German housewives were setting trends. And we didn't even know.
So in the late 90s, I was very proud of my Doc Marten sandals, and I would wear them all summer long. Once, during a weekend trip to Chicago with some friends, we were walking down the street, and I realized I'd gotten something stuck in my foot. Because the sandals, they looked good, but there was also, there was some foot exposure there.
Yeah.
And after checking it out, we figured out that I had a piece of glass stuck in my foot. So at this point, we're in the middle of a night out in Chicago, and no one, myself included, wanted to cut the night short, so I just spent the rest of the night walking around going to bars with glass stuck in my foot.
You didn't take it out?
We tried to and we couldn't get it. So I wasn't bleeding that much, and I got the glass out the next
It
morning.
wasn't that
So
bad.
everything worked out fine.
Good God.
My God. Oh.
Wow, I didn't see you coming in with the glass. I thought we were getting that at camp. I didn't know we were getting it over here. I wasn't prepared. You're a trooper. I think that's,
So that that foot still exists and
Yeah.
it's fine. Okay, great.
Here's another layer of grossness to add to this.
Great.
Love it. Love it.
This on the same trip, a waiter who was working some patio tables at a restaurant noticed my T-shirt, which read "Home of the Whopper" and had the Burger King logo on it. Very classy. He offered me $20 and his undershirt in exchange for my T-shirt because he liked it so much, right? And so I took him up on the offer, and I immediately regretted it when I put his undershirt on and it was sweaty. It was not the most hygienic trip I've ever taken in my life.
I mean, your own sweat is one thing. Someone else's sweat.
That's tough.
Oh.
That's a toughie.
But I would like to talk to the people who went by, like when we were in the alley behind this restaurant, like switching like tops, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what did they think was happening back there?
It's like, that's not a drug deal. That's something weird.
But I mean, before all this happened, I was walking down the street in Chicago with a Burger King T-shirt on and Doc Martens sandals, and you couldn't tell me nothing.
And glass in your foot, and you were good.
You were a peak 90s. I love it. Wow.
This reminds me of the time we tried to solve the case of your missing Doc Marten from the
yeah,
skate park
from the
or from the
skate
skate
park.
rink.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? It's the same guy that stole your library book hold. He's been wreaking havoc for years.
He thought the roller rink was just free shoes.
Yes.
Yeah, and he took two that he liked to make a new pair.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're right.
This has been a lifelong pattern. Well, my next one is the trend/phenomenon of carnivals and fairs.
Trend of fairs.
This is also a physical thing. That's a phenomenon.
Gotta be honest, I don't hate anything more than a carnival or a fair. Oh my God. Okay.
Well, I've gone on record with my hatred of Iowa State fairs.
Yes, you have.
But I'm thinking specifically of like growing up every year on the 4th of July, our family would go visit Grandma Jody and we would go watch the Urbandale Parade. And then after that, just a couple blocks down from Grandma Jody's house was the street carnival. And this street carnival, when I was young, was tits. It was just great. Maybe because I was escaping Grandma Jody's house where there was no air conditioning, and I was just like, well, this is better. I guess there's some air moving around here. But I'm talking rickety-ass scrambler. I'm talking a slide that burned your ass as you went down.
Yes.
Sounds like Cam Gaywood.
Yeah.
I'm talking stands selling ice cream sandwiches from stores. I'm talking chain smoking carnies.
Chain
All right?
smoking carnies.
I'm
yes.
talking those games that you never win that are a total racket.
Yeah.
I'm talking all of it. I loved it when I was a kid. That went away after a while.
Yeah. Okay.
What happened?
Yeah. I mean, you gave us a lot of clues there. Was it the rickety ass scrambler?
It was probably the rickety ass scrambler, like the first time I got sick off of it or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this is a lie. I don't like any of this. This has been a ruse. And I think Grandma's unair conditioned house is better than this.
Yeah.
But that was a 4th of July tradition.
Yeah.
We would go to that. Also, we'd be so high off the sugar from the candy that they threw at the parade that we were probably just off our mind high.
Yeah.
Like we had no
You were just
concept of what was
pumped,
real
yeah.
and logical
Right.
and whatever. Just like, yeah, give me that. Give me that carnival and those weird ass carnies.
All of
Those
it.
toys.
That's still a tradition for a lot of people because that street fair still goes on. Our
Is
street
it
carnival
really?
still goes on. Yeah.
Probably with the same carnies and the same
Probably
rides that were there when you
Yeah.
were young.
It's
For
probably
sure.
so rickety. I mean, it's 40 years older now.
Yeah.
So it's also, it reminds me of the summer rite of passage, which is Adventureland. Did you guys go to Adventureland or was it
Yes.
too far away for you?
We went. I remember
went,
going.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the uninitiated, Adventureland is like a bargain basement Six Flags. It's like it's a regional amusement park.
Yes. Yeah.
that has lots of good going
It's
for it.
assistant to the regional manager. Theme park.
Had all sorts of rides. My favorite was the log ride because you would get, drenched and it would be hot, and that was a nice, pleasant thing. At the time, I didn't feel that grossness, I guess, of having wet clothes and you're just walking around in an amusement park.
Yeah.
That was also where I first realized, roller coasters are not good for the tum. That is not. That's not a good thing.
That's a scary place.
Nor
to be.
are anything that spins.
Yeah. Oof.
Nor is that galleon. That's not good.
No.
Pretty soon, my body disqualified me for pretty much all of Adventureland.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I remember there was a girl in our class who, her parents had money and she was not particularly, I don't want to say she wasn't well liked. She just didn't have a ton of friends.
Okay.
And it wasn't like people were just mean to her. She was just kind of unappealing.
Yeah.
But she would for her birthday, that was the trip, is that she invited a bunch of kids to Adventureland, and people went because we were,
It's Adventureland.
right. Yeah. And we went, and I remember it rained that day.
no.
And I remember one of my friends, there was chafing because we walked around in the rain all day. It was nice because there was almost nobody else there. The park was open, but there was almost nobody else there. And I remember we got to go on the drag, and we would just go again and again and again and again and again. You'd finish it, you'd run down one side, come around, and go back up the other
Was
side.
the dragon the one that did the loop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember, there was chafing. I remember, that was something, that was an affliction this person dealt with, like, many years later. Like, there was, like, even the slightest amount of heat would sort of, I don't know, apparently you get chafed once, and it's just a nuisance for the rest of your life. I don't know.
What'd you get at Adventureland? A chafing problem. That's what I took home. Wow. That brings back some memories.
Carnivals, man. Also, for the record, fuck you, Iowa State Fair.
You heard it here first.
Fuck you and your popularity that is inexplicable to me.
What's wild to me about, I'm not about the Iowa State Fair, but about Adventureland, is all those rides are run by retirees or 15-year-olds.
Yes.
That's so true.
That is so true.
Because so many people at school, because I live in Des Moines, and eventually it's right outside Des Moines, that was their summer job. It was Adventureland. And I'm like, we're all the same age. I don't want that responsibility. That doesn't seem right.
Well, so my final one is an item that I recall in summer being real important to me. And that was rollerblades.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you're thinking about me on rollerblades and thinking that's an accident waiting to happen, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. But when I first got rollerblades, I thought this was the greatest thing that ever happened. And I used to rollerblade all around my neighborhood.
You were just blading all over?
All over. I was so excited about them. Now, that's not to say I didn't wipe out all the time. That's not to say that I didn't injure myself in a lot of ways that I'm probably still paying for. Like when I feel aches and pains, there are times that I think rollerblades. Yep, that's from rollerblades because, I wasn't great on them. But what I liked about rollerblades when I was doing research for this that I didn't realize is that they were actually invented in 1980 by two Minnesota brothers who discovered an older inline skate in a sporting goods store and thought that the design would be perfect for off-season hockey training.
Okay.
Which is fine, except that if you found them in a store, they were already invented.
Right, yeah.
So then, claiming it as an invention just seems like a real, brothers thing to do. Like, ha, we invented the rollerblades. And so apparently they improved it. Okay. And were manufacturing the first rollerblade inline skates in their parents' basement, which is terrifying because those first models had to be rickety, to use your word.
Rickety ass.
Rickety ass rollerblades. And hockey players and Nordic skiers all across Minnesota thought this is great off training. Like it's the same concept. And then over time, it became what we know today, which is inline skating / rollerblades. Wow. And I mean, if you enjoyed the phenomenon last summer of the Barbie movie, you remember the importance of rollerblades.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And this just felt great. And a lot of my friends didn't have them, so it felt like this, I have rollerblades. But you can't be a rollerblader with people on bikes. I soon had to realize I just have to use my bike. I cannot keep up with bikers on rollerblades. So it's a really core summer memory of just rollerblading around without abandon, no helmet, no pads. Just I could get a head injury. Who cares?
I never even tried rollerblades because I knew like that balance is not going to happen. Like there's just absolutely no way. I had never ice skated either, so I just had no like
thought of how to do. Yeah.
I did roller skates. I did skateboards, which
Oh.
those were
That's
rickety as hell.
Harder.
Well, I learned that quickly after I got one, and I was like, yeah, this isn't working. This isn't, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I also did it barefoot because we walked everywhere barefoot. All over the fucking east side, which was great. That's why my feet are like Hobbit's feet these days, because it's just callous city.
Yeah.
Did you ever blade?
I did once.
Don't ever say that again.
Did you ever blade?
Also, before you say this, I swear to God, if you come to a recording on rollerblades, we're done.
Okay, for the last 2 sessions, one, Heath walked here, which was about 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. 2, today, he showed up on a bike. Aaron saw him coming and was like, God damn it, he's on a bike.
God, already doing stuff.
I
I barely got here, and he's rolling up on a bike.
And we're meeting at 9 on a Sunday morning, and you are just active as all get out.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, have you ever bladed?
I did once. I don't know why we had them in our house. It must have been one of my brothers. It must have been my older brother, because my younger brother at the time, we wouldn't have had the same size feet. And I remember rollerblading from our house to the dentist's office where my mom worked. So I had to go through downtown Parkersburg.
Okay.
And I was bad at it. Like, also, you shouldn't do it down the street, like on a downtown where there's people coming in and out of stores and there's other pedestrians and stuff. And I just, it was bad. Like it didn't go well. And if I remember right, I think I ended up walking home carrying them, like with no shoes on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to submit to the blades.
Yeah. And I don't know why anyone in Parkersburg would have had them anyway, because there were no bike trails at the time and sidewalks weren't really even, they're all like, there's nowhere to do it.
That's a good point about rollerblades is you felt every crack in every street.
Yeah.
Even if it was even, you're like, kung. Jesus, I have a concussion.
There was a woman I worked with in Chicago that rollerbladed to work.
No.
Yep. Yep. Rollerbladed to work. And this is like, she lived in like Ravenswood, which was miles from downtown, and just rollerbladed all through the city, all the way to work.
Like, did she go on trails or something? Like, I would think the people on the sidewalks of Chicago would just like punch her in the face.
And this was like around 2010. Rollerblades were not a thing still.
Yeah, they were kind of over.
So you'd see her come and you're like, oh boy, okay. Yeah.
Would she have to change her clothes?
That's a good question.
She took like a horse bath and ladies' room.
You got a final thing for us, Heath?
I do.
Ooh.
So every summer, there's at least one song that is, for better or worse, unescapable. And that song is the song of the summer, aptly named.
Indeed.
Sometimes there's 2 or 3 of them that you hear everywhere, all the time, all summer long. And I present to you NPR's list of some of the songs of summers from the 80s and 90s.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
This is going to be great.
And we're going to decide which song was the song of that summer for each year.
Wow.
And our decision will be final forever.
So don't even ask us about it again.
And I fully expect this to devolve into a shouting match within the next 90 seconds. So
Okay.
Let's go.
You rode your bike here. You don't get a vote.
Yeah. You haven't bladed.
I won't do. I wouldn't need to do all 20 of them because I got all 20 of them. But I picked some out that I think would make for a good and spirited debate.
Let's do it.
Yep. So in 1981, we have Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes or Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield.
Well, if we're talking about so are we going to talk about endurance? Because that's not really related necessarily to Song of Summer. Or was it more, you know what I mean? Because that one, Jesse's Girl endured.
I think both, because I've been seeing Betty Davis Eyes in a lot of things lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know that song.
And it's funny because when you listen to the lyrics, like,
It's real
like
weird.
it doesn't have anything to do with anything else. It's just like it's just she might as well be saying like, I don't know, she's got 4 fingers. Like it's got nothing to do with like her being more or less attractive. It's just Betty Davis eyes.
I'm gonna go Jesse's girl.
Okay, I agree with that. What do you think, Heath?
For me, it would probably be Betty Davis eyes. But
Okay.
you know,
All right.
Yeah.
saw
I don't
that
know.
coming.
Defend your choice.
Yeah.
I would say Betty Davis eyes only because Faye Dunaway played Betty Davis in that Wire Hangers movie. And it's so campy
True.
and terrible.
Okay.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
Good call. Good call.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Jesse's girl because
Rick
it's Rick Springfield.
He was on General Hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the man.
All right. Well, let's go ahead a couple years. In 1983, we've got Irene Cara's Flashdance, What a Feeling.
Ooh.
And The Police, Every Breath You Take.
Flashdance.
Oh man, that's tough. Because I'm trying to decide if every breath you take gained momentum later. You know,
After-
I feel like it's
after
another
Gideon,
endurance
like,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, like it came.
It is super, super, super about stalking.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
it's
much
so
so.
Yeah,
creepy.
it's very
so
unhealthy.
creepy.
And they've gone on record. Like Sting has said, I've heard people play it at weddings, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
That dude is cutting off pieces of your hair at night. and
Yeah, for
keeping
sure.
it.
Stealing all your underwear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Clipping your toenails and
Very
keeping them in a
specific.
jar.
I'm going with Flashdance because that was iconic fashion.
Uh-huh.
That was like that whole movie just became a phenomenon. The song still gets me. Love it.
I support that. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I
agree.
have to too.
Yep.
It also had a more summer feel to it, that song.
It
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about 1987? Now, this one, this is going to be tough.
Oh,
Okay.
This is gonna be
okay.
tough.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All
All right.
We got several to choose from, too. Alone by Heart.
Oh boy.
Oh, God, that's still on my playlist.
La Bamba from Los Lobos.
Oh.
I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For from U2.
Oh.
With or Without You from U2 also.
Really?
Yeah, they had 2. And everyone else can probably go home because the last one is I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston.
Oh my God. Can we even choose anything other than that?
No, it's
I don't
gotta
think
be-
Keith would come back if we did.
No. And actually, I agree with that because I sing that all the time still. Like, and it does
Yeah.
have like a summery like feel to it, you know.
Yeah.
Dance with somebody. Want to feel the heat with somebody? I mean, come on.
That's absolutely.
Yep.
Just for the fact alone that all that summer you watched MTV
Yeah.
and watched 2 disturbing videos to get to that,
Uh-huh.
that's why we're going with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
All
would
right. Well,
agree.
I'm-
Alone by Heart is a
That
close.
is-
That's
that's
another
great.
one.
That's a
but-
good
great.
Yeah.
That's a good song. How about 1990? Again, it's this one's a slam dunk for me, but you guys may have another opinion. It'll be wrong, but you can have you're entitled
feel
to
like
it.
this
Is
was
this
a
a
trap.
Mariah Carey
Yeah.
song in the
I feel
top?
like this whole
Okay.
game was a trap.
It is. It is. Yeah. We entered willingly.
Yeah, we did.
Hold On by En Vogue,
Oh.
Step by Step, The New Kids on the Block,
Oh shit.
or Vision of Love by Mariah Carey.
God, you're gonna hate me.
Or are you going to hate yourself?
I mean, I do hate myself for this period of my life, but it's step by step for me because I was all in on New Kids on the Block.
I am going to go with Mariah, not just because you love her, but because I remember going to like Target or wherever and I had some money and I had heard that song and I was like, I'm going to get this album. I think she's going to be great.
Yeah.
And so I got that album and I was not wrong.
You knew,
It was
yeah.
an excellent
You were
song.
right.
That was an excellent album.
Yeah.
Aaron, have you ever considered going on a New Kids on the Block cruise?
I am now. I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They're on cruises and you can go, or
Yeah, like they're on the boat.
It's like
What?
Yeah.
a fan cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to hang out with like-minded individuals, and then there's
Yeah.
meet and greets like all the time.
I don't know if it's like-minded.
The like-minded
individuals.
might
Like,
be-
I like to kind of keep it
Might be a problem.
encapsulated to a certain point, age
Yeah.
of my life, but
I feel like it might get weird because there's got to be someone there who
it
thinks
might. I'm sorry, it might get weird.
Definitely going to get weird.
because there's got to be people who think like I'm the biggest New Kids fan in the world, and then
Yes.
someone, Sharon from Wichita is like, "Fuck you, I am," and then there's knife fights.
I was just thinking, like, I bet the first cruise they let them come out and mingle with people, and now they're like behind a barricade
Hell
because
no.
things got way too touchy, way too fast.
I bet there's some women that go on that cruise being like, I am an adult woman now. I am going to win the heart of so-and-so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going
Right.
to win the heart of Donnie. I don't care about Johnny McCarthy. I'm going to win the heart of, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, they
That
go
think
with,
they
like,
have a
full
chance.
on,
Yeah.
just, yeah.
In fairness, if Donnie will marry Jenny McCarthy, he'll marry just about anybody, I'd
That's
assume.
true. That's very good.
Facts.
She is an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Known idiot.
Yeah.
Jenny McCarthy.
good reputation of being an idiot.
But I mean, from a business standpoint, it's smart because, these are all, your fans are all adults with disposable income now. Like, they
And
can
it's
afford this
genius,
stuff.
yeah.
There's
I mean-
probably so many like groups that go and be like, this is the time to get wild, so they're spending money.
Oh, you're
like,
right. And on a
yeah.
cruise, you get all the drink. I mean, they are
Yep.
getting liquored up
Yep.
and fired up. Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I might end up hiding in my cabin the whole time.
Somebody's going to, like, have their Spotify on and play, like, a non-New Kid song, and they're just going to get scolded.
Yeah.
They're just going to get yelled at by other people.
I bet that's on the instructions. When you come on, they're like, do you have Spotify on your phone? You can only play New Kids on the Block.
Yep.
Okay. Or we'll confiscate it. It's happened.
We'll toss that shit in the ocean.
Yeah.
Do you remember the lady at your Chicks concert that was confidently yelling out the names of every song? She's on the cruise.
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
definitely
She's
on
definitely
the
on the
cruise.
cruise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely on the cruise. Yeah, like just the most obvious ones too.
Yeah.
Like, it's wide open spaces. It's wide open spaces. Like, yeah, we know. It's like their most iconic song. We got it. Yeah, yeah. So she's definitely front row. Step by step.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good one.
1991, we'll do 1991 now, and I will just say before I read these, this is the most batshit weird eclectic list of songs, and they're so interesting that they were
I think
all
I know some that might
so
be on
popular
there.
at the
Yeah.
same time. So you've got Every Heartbeat by Amy Grant,
Oh, God.
Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams,
Oh, my God.
I don't like that.
I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad,
Oh wow, that's a good one too.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Summertime,
God.
and then Unbelievable by EMF. That had that sample of Andrew Dice Clay going,
Yeah.
whoa!
Unbelievable.
Yes.
That was Andrew Dice Clay? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This one's tough.
That is tough.
I mean, I really liked that Bryan Adams song because I was a big fan of Robin Hood, and that was in the Robin Hood thing. I'm gonna have to go with "Color Me Bad." I mean,
Want to sex you
that,
up? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say, like, when I think about a summer song, that one jumps up there. Because, like, I was going to say Amy Grant, but that's just a general memory I have of recording myself singing Amy Grant songs.
Wow.
And then accidentally making a mixtape on the other side that I gave to a friend.
Oh.
And then she heard my cuts of Amy Grant. And she was like, what are you up to? And it felt like I accidentally gave someone my journal, you know? Like, I was like,
Like you were giving them a demo tape. Like, I don't know what
I don't know what
you
do you think?
What'd you think?
I mean, should
Yeah.
I send it off?
What would you go with, Heath?
I think probably like when I'm listening to the 90s channel in my car, the one I have the biggest response to when it comes up is I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad.
Yeah.
Just because it's such an outrageous, ridiculous song.
Also, someone saying to you, I want to sex you
Right.
up.
Oh,
Now
God.
would be such a, like, what?
Oh.
Get out of here.
Oh.
And then there's the line where it says making love until we drowned. It's like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Ew. What is that? Now I'm thinking about that in context. What? First of all, you think I have that much fluid to give?
Yeah, I
It's the summer. We're all dehydrated.
I feel like, again, I know I'm harping on this, but just imagine that you're with someone and things are about to go down and they're like, I want to sex you up. And you're like, I'm out. I can't think of a phrase that tosses me out of the mood harder than...
It's also wild because when you think of the four men that were in this group, one of them looked a lot like Screech. And it was like Screech trying to be sexy in the video. And it's just like, oh, I don't know, man.
I don't like that.
Uh-huh. Here's another real eclectic group from 1992. Boys to Men, End of the Road.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses, November Rain.
Oh.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge. Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back.
That one. Yeah.
TLC's Baby, Baby, Baby.
November Rain, hands down. Because that was the summer I was watching all summer for that video.
I mean, as much as I love November Rain, Baby Got Back sticks out to me because I knew all the lyrics to it and recited them from memory to my
Yes.
husband on our third date, which is
that's
which is kind of what
right.
sealed the deal for me.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's got
It's gotta
nostalgia
be
value,
Baby Got
absolutely.
Back.
Yeah.
I like that.
Which is, I mean, the best seduction technique, I think. Yeah.
Singing about ladies' asses.
That's right.
I don't know how to work that in. I'm just going to throw this out to Michael again. Something with Baby Got Back might be a good anniversary present.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know
we are
what
full of ideas
Yeah.
as a solutions-oriented podcast.
Podcast, yes.
Yeah.
Let's skip ahead to 1995. We've got Kiss from a Rose by Seal.
Oh,
boy. Oh,
that
boy.
one right away. Woo!
The Notorious B.I.G., One More Chance, Stay With Me, and Waterfalls by TLC.
Oh shit, waterfalls. Okay, so this is admitting again, which has already happened in this episode, that I was wrong about lyrics. But when Waterfalls first came out, I thought it was "Don't Go Jason Waterfalls." Like they were talking to a specific guy.
Don't go, Jason!
I didn't stay on that very long because it was so popular. Other people were singing it, and I could catch up. And I was like, "Oh, it's chasing water. Okay, it's chasing waterfalls. Yes, not Jason Waterfalls."
I really like that it was a direct address to poor old Jason who couldn't escape the waterfalls.
Don't go Jason Waterfalls.
do
I thought
it.
Waterfalls was his last name.
So it was like a specific call
That's a
out.
pretty good name. Jason Waterfalls is a pretty good name.
That was a good one.
How about 1996?
Let's do it.
We got Tupac and Dr. Dre, California Love.
Oh,
Bone Thugs and Harmony, The Crossroads. Tell me what you gonna do.
Meet me at the crossroads, crossroads. I'll meet you at the crossroads, crossroads. That's the whole song. There it is.
Celine Dion, Because You Loved Me.
Wow, that one was.
Los Del Rio, Macarena.
oh God.
Or Always Be My Baby from Mariah Carey.
Oh no! Again, this was a trip. This was a trap.
Yeah, and he really got me because I already talked about my summer crossroads.
Yeah. And I, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with California Love.
That's a solid song. It's a
Yeah,
solid song.
I still, whenever it comes on, as soon as I step on the screen, I'm hearing hoochie screaming.
Yeah, I have to go crossroads. Sorry,
All right.
it's just such a pinnacle memory.
What did you choose, Heath?
Well, after a lot of thought,
Yeah.
it's always Be My Baby. It'll always be.
It was a
Always Be
really
My
good
Baby.
song.
Yeah.
Well, I for sure, if we look at it just from staying power,
Yeah.
it's definitely the most popular one out of that group that is still around. Because I don't count the Macarena because no.
No, that was a fad.
It was one of the biggest hits of the last 30 years, but it was a fad. Like
Gross.
like carnivals.
Like what?
Like carnivals.
The trend of carnivals. Oh no.
Well, my last one is we're gonna pay homage to the object and the idea that is VHS.
Oh.
I mean, we already talked about how there was a battle between the
Mm-hmm.
MPAA and the courts in which he said, "I say to you,"
I
and he
say
likened VHS to the Boston Strangler attacking single women in their homes for some reason, which
Means he might have been the Boston Strangler.
maybe he
He
was.
just wanted to get some attention on the
He
cases.
did.
Like this VHS battle's taken away from the real stuff.
But I chose VHS because that was my summer activity, was recording movies off of HBO or wherever on cable and watching them over and over and over again. So much so that when I see certain movies like Back to the Future or, all the Star Wars movies, if it doesn't have like certain like graininess, like from the VHS, I notice it immediately. Or I had recorded Empire Strikes Back, and at one point my dad had accidentally recorded part of an Iowa basketball game over the scene where Luke was trying to bring his speeder out of the water, and then Yoda takes over because he's like, "You're, pussy," and and Yoda speak.
Pussy
so
be you.
for so many years, I didn't know how that scene went because there was a 5-minute clip or like a couple-minute clip of basketball suddenly in the middle of the VHS. Finally, when I was an adult, I watched that scene in its entirety. It's like, oh, that's why. That makes sense. VHS was great.
Yes.
VHS was how I like I said, watched Star Wars. I watched Back to the Future. Legend of Billie Jean.
Oh, yeah.
So many classics. Just One of the Guys, I think. I
Oh, yep.
probably taped that. It was, so as much as the MPAA president said it was evil, I loved my evil VHS.
Yeah.
It was summer because, again, let me reiterate how much I did not like going outside during the summer.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. One, my pale skin. Two, my detest for, sweat and other, generally hate for activities. So my summers were mostly reading inside and watching movies.
Love it.
So all hail the VHS.
And air conditioning.
That's good. I like
So
that.
here you go, listeners. Summer.
Summer. All the
Sponsored
grades.
sponsored by Fuzzy Memories.
So, yeah, your summer has been sponsored by us. So just think about that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And, advice for summer, stay inside.
Yeah. Stay inside and listen to our podcast.
Listen to our podcast.
Don't run in Doc Martens sandals,
Good God, no.
especially if you have glass in your foot.
Yep.
No. Don't go to Living History Farms. Just don't do it.
It's funny. In a different universe, you would have become Michael's friend, so you could get revenge on him because his dad worked at Living History Farms and created like the day camp that you had to go
Is
suffer
that why
through.
we're still friends? Is that why I
think
feel
so.
this pull towards Michael?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
This deep-seated need for revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like that story.
On that note,
On that note, we'll return again
Yeah.
next time. Another year.
Watch your backs.
Fuzzy Memories is a Broads and Books production. It's hosted by Heath Smith, Aaron Johnston, and Amy Lee Lillard. The show is produced by Amy Lee Lillard. Follow us at Fuzzy Memories Pod on Instagram for clips and highlights. And follow us at Broads and Books Productions for updates on new shows coming your way. See you next time.
okay, we can cut this out, but this is a funny story about my grandma. So she was a gossip from way back. Loved to eavesdrop.
Ooh.
And she was at our house for something. Like, I don't know what it was, but I had my Doc Martens sandals by the back door. And I don't remember who it was that was talking out by the car. I think it was my aunt and my mom. And she put my Doc Martens sandals on, which she had bigger feet than I did, and ran out there, immediately fell and twisted her ankle. Because she was trying to get the hot goss.
Did she hear the gossip though?
I'm assuming they all turned because she fell and it was over. Like, she didn't get anywhere.